Welcome to Inside the Islanders. I'm George Matthews. With me, the head coach and new GM of the Charlottetown Islanders, Jim Hulton. And Jim, our first chance to, in fact, talk one-on-one here. Firstly, congratulations on your dual role here as the, again, head coach and GM of the Charlottetown Islanders. But your thoughts on the dual role? Again, it's one of a lot of responsibility when you're the GM and the head coach.
Well, it certainly is. And first of all, thank you for congratulations. It's a big task that we're taking on here, but one that I think anybody involved in the business, you want to learn more and you want to become more involved in the day-to-day operation. So it's exciting. There's a little element that's scary to it. There's a lot of work. You have to surround yourself with good people, and I think you have to be able to delegate to make sure that all the areas are covered off.
When you've got that dual responsibility, without question, you are the master of your own destiny.
Well, yeah, which can be good and bad, but I think the key is to build a good management team. It's never about one person or one role, and I think combining the roles just means that we have to make sure that we have strong people around us, and we're fortunate with Gilles Tremblay as our head scout, that a lot of experience there. We're going to make some more additions to the hockey operations staff once we get through the all-important entry draft here. And again, to me, that's the key, is to have a management team and to make sure that we delegate accordingly. And the way I see my role more from the managerial side is just to oversee a lot of the different departments and again, make sure that all the areas are covered off.
Need a strong support cast. There's no doubt about that. We'll talk about that as well as we move along here. But Jim, when you look at the situation, this time last year, you weren't working for the Islanders in any capacity as you moved your way back into Canada here. Just along the lines of the NHL draft, you were hired by the Charlottetown Islanders. Through the process, of course, GM Grant Saunier was in that position at that time. Just talk to us about your relationship with Grant over the last year.
Well, I had a great relationship with Grant. I consider him a very good friend. We had a wonderful working relationship that kind of transcended just hockey. Grant, as we all know, is a wonderful personality, and I have big shoes to fill. He was a mentor. I thought he did a great job at the last year's trade deadline. Probably the best job in the league when he acquired the talent and really turned what looked like a difficult, disastrous season around and springboarded into a good second half. The business side of this game is sometimes very difficult for all of us, and those of us, including Grant and myself, have been around the business a long time, and we've experienced the good and the bad of it, and there was a little bit of both here. It was a bittersweet moment to get offered the position because it came at the expense of a good friend.
Now, of course, when it comes to the GM position, which, again, you are the Islanders' second GM in history here, when it comes to that position, I'm not saying it's all of an ownership situation, but probably they're a key part of the final decision here. But when it comes to the assistant coaching situation here with Connor Cameron as well with Luke Beck, those two young guys were well thought of here in the community, and it was possibly thought both would be back. But a bit of a tough call by you, but again, it sort of comes to your table as far as those two guys coming back or not. Just walk us through what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, both Luke and Connor, similar to Grant, we were all very good friends. This is a small staff. This isn't the National Hockey League. So when you interact on a daily basis, it becomes more than just about hockey. But the business decision came down that we didn't think that we could make a situation where everyone was going to be happy. There's a lot of factors involved that don't need to be regurgitated again, but it came to a situation where it wasn't going to work and we had to move on.
Now, of course, you've made an appointment since, again, Luke and Connor were told they weren't coming back. Guy Girouard is your new assistant here coming from the Ottawa area. What can you tell us about Guy?
Well, Guy has a real strong background in coaching and administration. He's a good friend, former teammate. We thought he addressed a number of the key areas, coaching, admin, recruiting. He's also bilingual. He's played in Europe, so a lot of different contacts and qualities that he brings to the table.
Now, of course, and you've already sort of noted this already, but this staff, which is still a little bit on the thin side, you potentially post-draft here in Charlottetown could be making some additions. Yeah,
we're going to have another assistant coach and a video coach and maybe some other additions to the hockey ops staff, but the key is to take our time with the decisions and make sure the right ones are done. The Guy decision was a little bit easier, given the familiarity. The process moved along very quickly, but with the second assistant, we want to make sure we take our time and do our due diligence.